You know what's crazy? If I see your name in the paper after an arrest, I can't call you, even if I know exactly how to help you. Even if I've handled your kind of case 100 of times before, I have to stay silent. Hi, I'm Joel Chorny. I defend people in Arizona's criminal system. Everything I share here is for general information only. It's not legal advice about your specific case. It's about understanding the rules that protect you, even when they seem to work against you. A few years ago, I got a letter from the county jail. It was handwritten, careful script, the kind that slows down near the edges of the paper because you're trying to fit every word in. And the letter said, Mr. Chorney, I wish you'd called me. I saw your name in the news. I heard you're the one to talk to, but no one reached out, and I already got a court-appointed lawyer. That hit me kind of hard because he assumed I didn't care. But the truth is, I couldn't have called him even if I wanted to. If I had, I could have been disciplined, fined, suspended, even disbarred. Not because I'd done something unethical in the ordinary sense, but because the rules in Arizona treat that kind of contact as an ethical violation. I get these moments often, families calling after the fact saying, we didn't know who to call. We thought lawyers could reach out to us. And every time I hear that, I realize how invisible this rule is. It's one of the most misunderstood parts of my profession, the rule that stops lawyers from reaching out when people need help the most. Now, here's what's behind it. Arizona's Ethical Rule 7.3 says that lawyers cannot initiate live person to person contact with someone known to need legal services. That includes phone calls, in person approaches, private messages, or even a quick direct message saying, hey, I can help. We can't do it. Because the law assumes that someone who has been arrested very recently or accused or whose family is in crisis is vulnerable. And when people are vulnerable, they're easier to pressure, even unintentionally. So the state draws a bright line, no real-time solicitation. That way people have time to breathe and room to breathe, to think, to choose freely. It's designed to protect your autonomy, not my convenience. And frankly, it's one of the few rules that still reminds lawyers that we're not the heroes of your story. You are. But that line gets blurry. Because while I can't call you, I can educate you. That's what this video is for. I can explain your rights, demystify the process, and make sure that when you do decide to reach out, you know exactly what you're doing on your terms, not mine. Now let's break it down in terms of what's allowed and what's not allowed. If you've been charged or arrested, I can't call or visit you. I can't message your family out of the blue, but I can mail you a letter, a piece of paper, not a phone call, as long as it's truthful and labeled as advertising. It also has to not be misleading. Why the distinction? Well, because mail gives you time. You can read it when you're ready. You can ignore it. You can toss it. You're in control of that interaction. That's what the rule protects, your right to choose when and whether to engage. It's the same reason I can post videos like this one. You're watching voluntarily. You're in the driver's seat. That's the ethical foundation of consent. It might sound academic, but in real life, it means everything. So let's say something happens. You or someone you love gets arrested. The police take them to jail. Everyone's panicking. You're calling numbers, searching online, not even sure what kind of lawyer you need. Here's what to do. You make the first move. Call the lawyer you want. Send an email. Submit a contact form. Have a family member do it for you. Once that contact starts from your side, I can respond. I can schedule a meeting, talk strategy, explain rights, and start protecting your future. But until that first call or message happens, I cannot legally reach out. So if you ever find yourself wondering, why didn't that lawyer I heard about just call us? This is why. It's not about disinterest. It's about respect for your right to choose. And this matters most when time feels critical, because panic makes people vulnerable to the wrong kind of help. That's exactly what the rule tries to prevent, lawyers turning fear into opportunity. Your defense should begin with your decision, not a cold call. Si usted o un ser querido enfrenta cargos, el abogado no puede llamarlo primero. Usted debe iniciar el contacto por teléfono, correo electrónico o a través de un familiar. Así protege su derecho a elegir el abogado que le inspire confianza sin presiones ni manipulaciones. That's the heart of it. Su elección, su voz, su defensa. Your choice, your voice, your defense. Now you might be thinking, but wait, I've seen lawyers send glossy mailers to inmates. Isn't that solicitation too? It's actually not, as long as it's transparent and clearly marked as advertising. The difference is power. When you receive a letter, you can toss it or read it on your own terms. But if your phone rings and it's a lawyer saying, I heard about your arrest, let me help, that conversation is inherently unequal. Another common myth is that lawyers might have good intentions. What if the lawyer's intentions are in fact good? Intentions don't erase impact. Even a well-meaning lawyer can come across as opportunistic to someone terrified and sitting in a cell. That's why the rule exists, not to punish empathy, but to prevent coercion. And here's one more. What if my family doesn't know who to call? Well, that's why education matters. That's why lawyers make videos, write blogs, and publish guides. We can't call you, but we can make sure that when you need to call someone, you already know where to start. Now let's zoom out. This rule, Ethical Rule 7.3, it might sound bureaucratic, but it's rooted in something bigger. trust. Trust that the person representing you does so because you chose them, not because they hunted you down. Trust that the profession restrains itself when you can't, and trust that even in a system that often feels predatory, your voice still matters. I've spent years watching people navigate the criminal system, people who've lost everything, jobs, families, reputation. And what they need in that moment is not another voice selling them hope, it's a voice that listens. That's what ethical restraint protects. It keeps the defense profession grounded in consent and dignity. When I finally do get that call, when a wife, a brother, or a scared parent says, Joel, we need you, that's when I can spring into action and start establishing an attorney-client relationship. Because that call is an act of agency. It's the client taking back control of a life the system is trying to take away. And that's what makes this rule beautiful, even if it feels frustrating. It puts the power exactly where it belongs, in the hands of the accused, not the lawyer. So the next time you wonder why I didn't call you first, remember, it's not silence out of indifference. It's silence out of respect, because your right to choose your defender is the first right worth defending. I'm Joel Chorny. Remember, you have rights. They matter. Protect them. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.